This is a patapan squash. Today we had a prolific day in the garden. So we have an incredible secret we're going to go do. Come with us and see. He's crawling in the plant now.
One more that I want to get out of here. I think it's ready. I can get my way into it. Take that back. Still one more.
Take that back. I see several on this side. Hold it up. Whoa, how many families will that feed? This is a patapan squash. Today we had a prolific day in the garden. So we have an incredible secret we're going to go do. Come with us and see.
Good evening!
So this is the surprise. Here we are.
In the garden.
In the garden. And you saw us harvesting stuff earlier. Well, we thought what better place to prepare the food than in the garden. So let's go. So we have been planning this all day, and then we got all this amazing squash. Let me show it down here. But I have to reveal that this is not our tomato, but it is organic. But I needed a tomato, so I had to go to the store.
We're still working on the tomatoes in this climate. We haven't quite got it figured out.
But this is our cabbage, our squash, our squash, our squash. This is a, oh no, pitapan squash, I think. Anyway, I looked up some great recipes, and so I changed a little bit of what we're gonna do out here. This is grilled chicken from our chicken.
Rename it.
No, it's grilled.
It's grilled.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's, what is it?
Ground.
This is ground chicken that we ground from our own chicken. It's a chicken breast, and I've mixed it with our egg and some bread and spices. And so we're gonna make chicken burgers, and we're going to put grilled vegetables on top of artisan bread that's gonna be toasted with Havarti cheese melted down over it. So watch and learn. We took all of our beautiful vegetables, and Jim's lighting the fire.
I get the easy jobs.
And we did the vegetables vertical so that they're long strips. And we're going to cook them this way. It was so cool doing it in the garden, was it not?
Well, it was amazing because we're right there where it grew, and just the memory of what we did to prepare the ground, what we did to plant the seeds, what we did to care for them, and the different challenges, some not growing, because the season was so cold and rainy early.
Oh, I know. I didn't think we'd get anything. And then the chickens are literally just over the fence to my left arm there.
Watching us, every move. They just know we're doing this for them.
And they got the scraps. Well, I thought, we have enough squash to share. So we shared some with them. So we did the summer squash first, and then we grilled the zucchini squash, and we did one for each of us. So that would be great. Now, this patapan squash is something that I've never done before. And
we tried last year. It didn't grow very well.
It was horrible last year, but
We figured it
the
out.
squash didn't
apparently.
work.
What we did this year worked.
Well, the plant is prolific this year, and I understand that it's famous for being prolific. Now, you see that I'm putting the cabbage right on there to grill also, and then I'm slicing this, and I will...
You take the ends off first,
I took
right?
the ends off, and we let the chickens have the ends. And this is a more solid than a zucchini. It's a little bit sweeter, and I thought it was just easy to work with. So we slice it, and then we'll fit it on the grill in just a few minutes. But it was a lovely evening. It's been really, really hot.
Well, the sun had gone down enough. We had shade because of the barn, so we weren't standing in the sun to do this, which made it very nice.
Yeah. So this chicken breast, we just got a meat grinder, and it's just a hand meat grinder, the kind that your mom and my mom and his mom all
My grandma.
all had when they were chilling, or being the mom and the grandma. And so we decided to go with a manual, and it worked very well. And we put the chicken breast through it, and then I took this chicken breast and mixed it with one of our eggs and a slice of bread and several seasonings, and just mixed it all up and fried it.
I thought that I was eating just a slice of chicken breast. That's what it seemed like.
But it wasn't dry.
It wasn't dry. It was very tasty. It was amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
it was,
Because we're not white meat fans, and so this was a perfect way.
No, it was, because it brought the juiciness into it. We were able to put the flavors into it with all the spices. It's a wonderful way to do the meats that we're not that fond of and turn them into something that are exceptional.
Right. So we're turning this right now, and they're golden brown, and when I take the fork from him right now and turn the cabbage, the smell just radiated up. And so what I'm doing now is going to season it. And so what I learned is that you do not season your vegetables when you first put them in. You let them get golden brown, or else they get soggy before you do the seasoning. And then I threw the pat pan on the ground almost, but I didn't.
That's
Anyway,
why we had that backsplash.
that's right. So what I'm sending Jim for right now is some dill to go get. And so
I walked a couple of rows over and picked about 10 times the amount of dill that we needed. Just
know.
one little sprig.
And the recipe that I learned from, actually, let me give a plug for this guy. I found him. I just was doing how do you cook pat-a-pan squash, and it is Suburban Homestead. And so I subscribed to him. It was a beautiful video, so well done. And he did a sandwich like this, only mine has got a lot more ingredients in it. He didn't have any meat in his. But he said to put dill on it. And I have no idea how to cook with dill. I've never done it. But
That worked.
what did you think the taste?
It was exceptional.
Oh my
Really
goodness.
added to it.
It was just a tiny
It was definitely fresh.
little bits. So that's what Jim's doing right now, is sprinkling dill straight from the plant onto the vegetables. And then it just heated up a little bit. And so now I'm going to toast the bread and cut the tomato and get ready to plate these. And I now understand that I've never made this before, so I'm doing it in front of the camera because, of course, that's what you do. And
Now, here's one of the items that didn't come from our garden.
the cheese. Yeah.
That's a little challenging. We're not quite there. And we haven't found a good local source either.
Well, I did Willamette cheese, but
Is that the one in Salem?
Salem, yes.
Yeah, so we can't get there.
And they do sell their things other places. They're very, very, very pricey, but I don't mind doing it because it's raw cheese. But this is a good cheese, and it was able to do it. And now we're going to plate. So I've never plated them before, so I don't really know what this is going to be. But I can tell you that as we were doing it, I kept getting more and more and more excited as I was watching it go together. So the cheese hasn't had time to melt yet, but we're putting the hot squash
one zucchini on each one summer squash on each one, and one patapan on each one.
Mine was pretty melted by the time
It
I was
was
eating
totally melted by the time I cut it. So then I put cabbage on top of that. And this wasn't cooked like it was super soft.
No, it was
still
still
crunchy. Oh, it was so good. And then I tried 2 tomatoes. It just didn't work. And so we just are opting for 1 tomato per sandwich, boom, as evidenced by that. And then we make the second sandwich. And I start to cut it and I'm like, no, if I cut it, it's going to be on the ground before we get it over to the porch to eat. So we opted to do that. And we were going to set up a table right in the garden, but then
I got lazy.
We would have had to have moved everything over there. And we love to eat on our deck anyway. So that's
It was set up ready to go. It didn't make sense to set something else up that had to be taken down. So, and the deck's a great place to eat. It's a wonderful place to eat.
So now 1 more tomato, 1 more bread, and here we go.
Voila.
And I'll do the voila. And Jim pans up to me, and I pan back down, and now we're going to go eat. So, sitting on the deck, cutting this in 2, and oh my word, I hope you can appreciate what that is. Now watch when I cut Jim's. It goos the cheese.
Bon appetit.